4 reasons to daven Mincha early, even in summer. Now in winter, people like to daven Mincha early because it's very hard to do it at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, that sort of time when they're at work. So if they can do it at lunchtime, then that's a pretty good thing to do. In the summer, you might say, why? Why bother? Because you got a Mincha Mariv normally 7:30, or you could go much later even. Now, I'm not saying this is halacha, I'm not saying this is preferable even, but I'm just laying out 4 reasons where I think it makes it quite reasonable, good idea maybe to daven Mincha early even in the summer. Number 1, Zerizim Makdimin the mitzvahs. You do mitzvahs with enthusiasm, which means you do them as early as possible. So even in the summer, if you can, I'm not saying you should, I have to emphasize that, but you are being more zores, which means zealous, not zealous, enthusiastic about doing the mitzvahs quickly. That's number 1. Number 2, better a bird in the hand than 2 in the bush, right? You can get your mincha done, because who knows what might happen. Even if you can daven mincha up to 8:30 or 9:30 at the height of summer, or 10:30 even in some places, nonetheless, you might get stuck on a motorway or whatever. You can think up many scenarios, so, better to grab it there and then. Number 3, this is one that I heard from a rabbi and kind of thought of myself as well, but in the Kuzari he mentions that the 3 tefillahs are corresponding to 3 meals, because our soul, just like our body, gets hungry. So in the morning, afternoon and evening, we have most people in modern world have breakfast, lunch and dinner, or supper, whatever you want to call it. And he says that's similar to the soul, which has 3 meals for the soul every day, which are the tefillahs, Shacharis, Mincha and Mariv. And just as with eating, we kind of wouldn't, spread them out. We don't want to have 2 meals very close to each other. We want to have enough food to keep us going from one meal to the next. So it makes more sense to have one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. So to feed our soul, that's the best way. Now, one could argue on that and say, actually, the Rambam says you should have 2 meals a day. And in which case you might say, well, then we should only pray twice a day. Or you could say it defeats my argument, and you can have a big meal in the evening, one in the morning, shacharis, corresponding shacharis breakfast. That can be a big meal, and in the evening, mincha and mariv together. So you have a big meal in the evening. That's your 2 meals a day instead. Okay, so I'm giving the argument for the other side as well. 4th reason, and for me this is the biggest reason, but in a way the reason why some people want to daven mincha and mariv together. Most people want to daven mincha and mariv together, and I believe this is mentioned in the Gemara, because if you don't let them do that, then they won't. If they daven mincha, they won't necessarily be bothered to come back to shul again for mariv. It's they're going to the trouble of having another trip to shul. For me, I totally agree with that, and have the same mentality. But equally, I feel that doing 2 amidas, especially one after the other, is very difficult. It's very difficult to get the same enthusiasm, which is not exactly high enough anyway, for Mariv when you just daven mincha exactly the same thing. It's like having tea and toast after you've had a meal of bread or whatever. Think up your own analogy. It doesn't have to be food based. So that's the other 4th advantage I would say, is that It's better from a spiritual point of view to, not have to repeat the same prayers to a large extent immediately afterwards or very soon afterwards you've done it. Better to space out. A bit like answer 3, I agree, where your soul is being fed at more even intervals rather than all in one go. Okay, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed that and hope you daven Mincha and Maariv over the summer, whatever time you daven Mincha. And please subscribe and like and all that stuff. Thank you very much. Good night. Or Chag Sameach, I should say. And good Shabbos. And Gut Moed. And all the rest of it.